For World Folic Acid Awareness Week, we're going to be doing a STEM activity to show how a vitamin called folic acid helps during the early development of a baby. Specifically, we will be looking at how folic acid helps with making something called the neural tube. Closing the neural tube is an important process that happens in the first few weeks of pregnancy, before some people even know that they're pregnant. The neural tube goes on to make the baby's brain and spine, and closing it fully is important for the health of the baby as they grow. If it doesn't close properly, it can lead to the baby having something called a neural tube defect, or NTD. These can be very serious conditions. In an NTD called anencephaly, for example, the baby's skull and brain do not form as they should, and these babies sadly cannot survive. In open spina bifida, the baby's spine and brain do not form as they should, and this can affect someone in different ways, including if and how they walk, and what they can feel in their feet and legs. Let's imagine that these cardboard tubes are our neural tubes starting to form, and these sticky labels represent our folic acid. In this first example, we've got lots of folic acid available, so it's easier for the neural tube to close completely and protect the baby's developing brain and spinal cord. Having enough folic acid helps the neural tube to close completely, so the brain and spine then form as they should. For most people who could become pregnant, a daily tablet containing just 400 micrograms is enough to reduce the chance of an NTD happening. This time we're going to demonstrate a pregnancy where there isn't enough folic acid. Let's see what happens. Here we've got less sticky label to work with, making it harder to close the neural tube. Without enough folic acid, the neural tube sometimes can't close properly and there's a gap. If this happens, the baby will have a neural tube defect, and depending how big the gap is and where it is, the baby can be affected different amounts and in different ways. Sometimes an NTD will happen even if there is enough folic acid. We don't always know why this is, but we do know that 70% of neural tube defects can be prevented with folic acid, and this model is a way of showing the difference. Of course, folic acid doesn't really act as sticky tape in developing babies, but having enough available before and during early pregnancy really does help the neural tube to close completely and securely. That's why it's so important that anyone who could become pregnant takes 400 micrograms of folic acid every day just in case. This is even more important when actually planning a baby, as you need to take it for a couple of months before you get pregnant to make sure there's enough available to help the neural tube to close. Taking folic acid is a small step with a big impact. Spread the word and help support the health of future babies.